In the shadowed lands of Termina, under the terrifying gaze of a falling moon lies a story not merely of heroic adventure, but also the deepest of human truths: death, grief, and healing. Today we delve into the heart of the Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask, a game that teaches us to face our shadows, to come to terms with the inevitability of our end, and in doing so, discover the essence of what it truly means to be alive. Act 1. The Inevitability of Time. In the world of Termina, the clock doesn't merely tick, it looms over you, similar to the way grief and death do when we are forced to confront them. You feel this not only due to the literal 3-day doomsday clock, but also in the sound design of the game. In Clocktown, your adventure begins with a welcoming and cheerful tune that greets you as you explore on your first day. However, as time progresses and each day passes, this music subtly shifts, gaining pace and urgency. This gradual acceleration of the melody instills an increasing sense of unease and restlessness, mirroring the ticking clock and the dwindling time you have left. Termina, the setting of Majora's Mask, isn't just named for kicks. It's definitely a nudge to terminal, as in the end of the line. It's like the game saying, hey, everything here, it's on a timer, but not in a countdown to midnight on New Year's Eve kind of way. More like, enjoy your existence while you can, because the inhabitants are on a non-stop ride to their demise. It's a living, breathing memento mori, a reminder that we're all heading to our death, whether we like it or not. And so Majora's Mask isn't just a game, it's a meditation on endings and the finite quality of life. Michel de Montaigne, a philosopher who was very interested in the concept of death, once said, "To philosophize is to learn how to die." And it is in this dance with death, this one simple statement, that Majora's Mask unfolds its first lesson. To truly live, one must acknowledge the end. The story kicks off with Link, our hero from Hyrule, on a quest to find his missing friend Navi, but things take a wild turn pretty quickly. He is ambushed by the Skull Kid, who is wearing the eerie, all-powerful Majora's Mask. In a flash, Link's horse Epona and his ocarina are gone, and if that wasn't bad enough, he is now a Deku scrub. So suddenly, Link finds himself in the world of Termina, a place that's every bit as mysterious as it sounds. But he's got an even bigger problem now: the moon. There are just 3 days before it is set to crash down onto Termina and all of its people. The game's unique time loop mechanic, which resets every 3 days, emphasizes the inexorability of time and forces the player to confront the idea that some fates cannot be avoided, only understood and eventually accepted. Majora's Mask is a hauntingly beautiful meditation on how grief shapes our actions and the importance of empathy and courage in the face of the inevitable end. Act 2. The masks representing confronting trauma and the darkness within. The masks in The Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask are not merely gameplay mechanics. They are instilled with deep symbolism, particularly in the context of encountering death and the intricate, often difficult process of grief and of healing. Each of the 3 transformation masks that Link acquires throughout his journey symbolize a soul he has helped, encapsulating that individual's grief and, to a certain degree, their journey towards healing. Then there are the secondary masks that you receive from completing side quests. wherein Link assists characters grappling with the looming catastrophe that's about to unfold. Each mask encapsulates the personal stories and traumas of the characters that Link encounters. In the story of Majora's Mask, trauma emerges as a disorder of time itself. The reoccurring 3-day cycle in Termina, where Link witnesses the same events and faces the impending doom over and over, mirrors the repetitive nature of traumatic memories. This cycle of temporal chaos reflects how trauma can trap individuals in a loop of reliving their most distressing moments, which then, unfortunately, makes it very difficult to move forward in life. So in this context, the masks are more than just tools for healing. They are symbols of the journey through trauma. They remind us that healing isn't about wiping away the past, but finding a way to carry it with us through our acceptance. In the game, masks play a pivotal role in both the narrative and gameplay, enabling Link to assume various forms and abilities. There are 3 main transformation masks: the Deku mask, the Goron mask, and the Zora mask. These transformation masks are special because they aren't just about switching up gameplay. They are about diving deep into the game's rich symbolism. These transformations are Link's way of shouldering the emotional loads of all of those that he's helped. He takes on their hopes, their sorrows, their struggles, their fears. It's significant that he can only don these masks after playing the Song of Healing. This isn't just a tune, it's a symbol of acknowledging loss and death, and then marking the first steps towards healing after grief. So now let's take a look at the 3 main transformation masks. First, we have the Deku mask. It symbolizes the Deku butler's son who died under mysterious circumstances. The game hints at this connection, suggesting the importance of mourning, accepting loss, and remembering loved ones after they've passed away. Second, we have the Goron mask. It contains the spirit of Dermani, a Goron hero who died attempting to save his village. Dermani's spirit, unable to accept his failure and demise, symbolizes the difficulty of coming to terms with one's limitations and the finality of death. Once he finally accepts his fate, his spirit is laid to rest, and his strength and courage are passed on to Link to fulfill his legacy. This journey not only highlights the theme of redemption, but also illustrates the game's recurring motif of legacy and the continuation of one's efforts even beyond death. And the third, the Zora mask, embodies Mikau, the Zora guitarist who dies trying to rescue Zora eggs. Through Link, Mikau finds peace and acceptance in death, knowing that his mission will be completed. We see his final moments before he passes, and through that story, it shows us themes of love, legacy, and self-sacrifice, emphasizing the importance of leaving a mark on the world and the people that we care about. Finally, there is a mask that Link is rewarded with after collecting all of the masks in the game, and that is the Fierce Deity mask. It stands as the pinnacle of Link's journey, embodying the collective strength and gratitude of the people of Termina. It symbolizes empowerment through unity and sacrifice, encapsulating the game's central message of healing and the strength found in community. When Link wears the Fierce Deity mask, he is not merely transforming into a super being. He is embodying the collective will and resilience of Termina's citizens. This mask, bestowed upon Link only after he has gathered all of the others, symbolizes the climax of his journey, a newfound godly strength derived from countless acts of empathy, compassion, and sacrifice. And so, The fierce deity mask is a symbol of confronting death and destruction, not in solitude, but armed with the strength and blessings of all of those aided along the way. Act 3. Anju and Kafei. The motif of memento mori, or the contemplation of mortality, is masterfully interwoven throughout the side quests of Majora's Mask, particularly in highlighting the art of living to the fullest and embracing one's own death. My favorite side quest is the story of Anju and Kafei, and it reminds us why it is important to create celebratory moments in life and to create meaningful memories, because life, unfortunately, is always fleeting. So we have Anju, the kind-hearted innkeeper of Clocktown, and Kafei, a young man cursed by the mischievous Skull Kid. They are engaged to be married. However, their plans are thrown into disarray when Kafei disappears just days before their wedding, leaving behind only the mystery of his sudden absence and a very worried fiancée. Kafei's disappearance is no ordinary event. He has been transformed into a child by Skull Kid's magic, and to make matters worse, his precious mask, the Sun's Mask, a symbol of his love and commitment to Anju, has been stolen by a thief in Clocktown. Embarrassed and ashamed of his new appearance, Kafei hides in secrecy, desperate to retrieve the Sun's Mask and return to Anju before their wedding day. You, the player as Link, help Kafei retrieve the Sun's Mask, and Kafei rushes back to marry Anju at the Stock Pot Inn. Their story mirrors the real-life stories of couples during World War II or other very violent times in history, where couples married in haste, knowing well that the future was uncertain. My grandfather, who lived in Poland during World War II, actually witnessed a couple having a wedding ceremony in hiding. Unfortunately, they did not have a happy ending, as German bombs killed them in their sanctuary just the very next day. Act 4. The Stages of Grief. As Link traverses the doomed world of Termina, we are introduced to the 5 stages of grief, a concept beautifully outlined by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross in her book on death and dying. I first discovered this Zelda theory by reading Alex Plant's Themes in Motion, Majora's Mask, and the 5 Stages of Grief. I've made sure to link the article in the description bar below if you would like to read it in its entirety. And I know that for many Zelda fans, this is a widely known theory, but I do still think that it is worth exploring, as the stages of grief provide a very insightful framework for recognizing and processing emotions that follow the loss of someone close. So the stages are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. In Majora's Mask, the narrative is brilliantly crafted to serve as a backdrop to these stages, not only by what Link experiences himself, but also by the stories of the various characters that we encounter throughout the game. Denial is palpable in the initial reaction of the inhabitants of Clocktown and other areas in Termina. Despite the clear and present danger posed by the moon looming ominously in the sky, many characters carry on with their lives as if nothing were amiss. This denial is seen in their preparation for the Carnival of Time and by the way that they're just continuing their lives as normal. Next, we have anger. Anger manifests in various forms throughout the game, such as the Deku King's irrational blame and punishment of an innocent monkey for the kidnapping of his daughter. This stage reflects the character's frustration and helplessness against the circumstances that they cannot control, and so they direct their anger towards others. Bargaining emerges through characters attempting to make deals or find solutions to avoid their fates. An example is the ghost of Dermani, who tries to bargain with fate by seeking a way to return to life and save his people. But additionally, Link's use of the Song of Time to rewind time and avoid disaster is also a form of bargaining, attempting to change the outcome of fate through his actions. Depression affects many of the characters in Majora's Mask as they deal with the emotional repercussions of the impending doom. The isolation of characters like Lulu, the Zora singer who lost her voice, and the emptiness of the Ikana Valley, where spirits of the dead linger, illustrate the pervasive sorrow and loss experienced by those in Termina. And lastly, acceptance is ultimately achieved through Link's efforts to heal the sorrows of Termina's inhabitants, restoring what was lost and bringing peace to the troubled spirits that he encounters. Ikana Valley serves as a profound symbol of acceptance within the game, a region steeped in the presence of spirits, ancient ruins, and enduring conflict. Here, Link heals spirits, confronts dark influences, and ultimately restores light to the region, symbolizing the process of reconciling with one's regrets and accepting the inevitability of death. And so, the moral of Ikana Valley teaches us to free ourselves from the chains of the past, as they are truly holding us back from the joy of living. Act 5. The Dawn of a New Day. As dawn breaks over a saved Termina, the game leaves us with a message of hope, renewal, and the infinite potential for rebirth. Majora's Mask, with its unique exploration of grief and its philosophical musings on what it means to live and to die, stands not just as a game, but as a profound meditation on life itself. In the end, Majora's Mask is more than just a journey through a dying world. It's a mirror asking us to reflect on the inevitability of our end, on the depths of our grief, and to question our human weaknesses. Weaknesses such as pride, arrogance, regret, and shame. These are emotions that keep us from living our lives to the fullest. It teaches us that there is always a dawn waiting in the darkest of times, that there is knowledge to be found in our deepest sorrows, but most importantly, that all endings lead to new beginnings. And this is where I end my video, but before I close it off, I wanted to give a quick shout out to a few videos that helped me with my research for this video. I think you should definitely check them out if you're looking for more Majora's Mask content. The first one is Shedding Light into Majora's Mask's Darkness by Ceave Perspective. His content is incredible, and I recommend checking it out as he dives deep into the themes of the game. The second is Majora's Mask and the Art of Dark Symbolism by Nexpo, where he explores the dark symbolism within the game. And the third shout out is to Majora's Mask, The Ultimate Trauma Narrative by The Creepy and the Cozy. She does an incredible job exploring concepts of trauma through the game's incredible and melancholic storytelling. I've linked all of these videos in the description bar below, and the mask behind me was made by my best friend Maria. Thank you for joining me on this adventure. As we step back into our world, let's carry with us the lessons of Termina, to live with the end in mind, to navigate our grief with grace, and to face our darkness with courage.